Well, good afternoon, Lake Forest.
And Lake Bluff and Norwood.
And welcome to the Trevor and Buffy Show. I'm Trevor Armgard IV, and this is Buffy Huffington. We bring you the latest news and keep you up to date on the events
and the gossip
happening right here in Lake Forest.
And Lake Bluff and Norwood.
Yes, Buffy. But tonight we're going to focus on Lake Forest. And do you know why? It's because Lake Forest was granted a city charter in February of 1861, and that means that we have a special birthday this year. We are 150 years old.
Well, I don't know about you, Trevor, but I certainly
Wait a
am
minute,
not
but
even
Buffy,
close.
the city is 150 years old.
Oh.
Anyway, we're broadcasting tonight from the City Council chambers, and we have a very special treat for our viewers as well as our studio audience. Using the technology of time travel, we have reached back into the past and have transported to the present time three of our founding fathers: Mr. Harvey Thompson, the first mayor of Lake Forest; Mr. Sylvester Lynn, also a Lake Forest mayor, as well as the founder of what is now Lake Forest College; and Professor Samuel Miller, the first headmaster of Lake Forest Academy and the first superintendent of Lake Forest Public Schools.
Ladies and gentlemen, help us welcome these distinguished gentlemen.
Come in, come in, come in.
Come in. Come in.
Please, have a seat, please.
Yes. Here, gentlemen.
Ah, the wonder of it all. Huh?
Where exactly are we, Professor?
Why, you are still in Lake Forest, gentlemen. Don't you recognize it? Did it really look so different when you lived here?
Why, yes, young lady, it looks terribly different.
And that's precisely why we brought you here tonight, gentlemen. We're hoping that you can give our viewers and our audience a better idea of what Lake Forest was really like in the early days of the community and of the city.
For instance, how was this area chosen to be the site of a new community?
Well, my dear, there were some Presbyterian leaders in Chicago who wanted to build an institute of higher learning in the Chicago area. The Methodists had already opened Northwestern.
And we Presbyterians were not about to take a back seat to anybody.
And when Samuel here, in 1855, finished supervising the building of the first railroad in Lake County, connecting Chicago and Waukegan, it was decided we should have a search for a site here for Lake Forest somewhere along the rail line.
And so, in the summer of 1855, a committee of 5 people, 4 Presbyterian ministers and 1 layman, headed north out of Chicago on that train. They disembarked at a point later called Farwell Crossing.
Isn't that the spot where Ryan Place meets Western Avenue?
Right, you are, Buffy.
And they made their way through the forest to the lake. It was decided then and there that that would be where they would found their university.
It was Reverend Slocum, who was visiting from Cincinnati, who suggested Lake Forest as the name of the new community that would surround the college. Because from where they stood, all they could see was a lake and a forest.
Yes, but weren't there families already living here in this part of Lake County?
You, sir, are correct. There were quite a few farming families. You might have called them pioneers, and many of them were of Irish ancestry, who settled here, some just west of Green Bay Road, and some further west out near Telegraph Road.
And as I recall, Lind University was chartered in 1857, and Lake Forest Academy opened in 1858. But when did Lake Forest become a city?
Well, it was a process. The city plat was laid out in 1857. The first actual structure was the Lake Forest Hotel, built in 1858. It was located on that triangle land over on Deer Path, just east of McKinley. Of course, later, when the new hotel was built, it was later be known as the old hotel.
Lake Forest Academy held classes there for a while.
Really?
And picnickers and land speculators would come out on the train from Chicago and spend the weekend here in the country.
I remember we had 4 students that first year. All boys, of course. In early 1859, the first academy building was completed and ready for occupancy.
Also, beginning in 1859, many homes were built here, including the Quinlan home and the Holt home.
And the Thompson house.
The Miller house.
And my personal favorite, the Lind home.
My colleagues, do you remember the first business establishment in Lake Forest? It was the Wright store right here on the corner of Deer Path and McKinley.
Wow! And all of that was before Lake Forest became a real city?
And wasn't it in the summer of 1859 that the founding fathers began to recognize the need for the needs of a fast-growing community to draw up a charter of incorporation?
That is correct, sir. At that time, we organized an interim government with an elected board of trustees who would oversee Lake Forest until the charter was received and approved.
By 1860, we were building sidewalks.
When the charter was finally sent to us, and it came back to us from Springfield, it was entitled An Act to Incorporate the City of Lake Forest. It had been signed by Governor Richard Yates and Secretary of State O.M. Hatch, and it was dated February 21, 1861.
It dealt with taxation, police and fire departments, and water and street departments, as well as establishing a school district, all of which would operate under the supervision of a mayor and 4 aldermen, 2 from each ward.
The charter further stated that voters should all be free, white, male, and over 21. 29 of us gathered at the Lake Forest Hotel on March 23rd, 1861, and approved the charter by a vote of 25 to 4.
Wow! This is all so fascinating.
Very interesting indeed, gentlemen. Now, do you have any questions for us?
Go ahead.
Well, actually, yes. I have a question. You mentioned earlier that we were in the City Council chamber room, correct?
Yes, indeedy. In fact, the council is holding their monthly meeting right here tonight, immediately following our broadcast.
Well, I don't mean to be rude, but why are there women here?
Well, that's because nowadays women as well as men can not only vote, but they can also hold public office.
And that's not just here in Lake Forest, but in all across America and in almost every country in the world.
Yes. And even more surprising is that most of us men are happy that women enjoy the same rights as men.
All people in our communities enjoy equal rights, no matter what their race, color, gender, or creed.
Oh my goodness, that is truly amazing. I'm sure you know, I'm sure every person here knows, that from the very beginning, Lake Forest was headed in that direction. Our public schools included boys and girls, including the children of former slaves and freeborn blacks.
And we also had a seminary for women.
Yes. Well, that just about does it for our broadcast for tonight. It's been a real pleasure to have you gentlemen with us this evening, and I thank you very much for your time and for sharing with us your experiences from the early days of Lake Forest.
Yes, and thank you for doing such a wonderful job getting this great city off to a roaring start.
Let us help these fabulous founding fathers. Say thank you. And that's it for tonight, folks.
Good night.